In other news, Pennsylvania residents are going to be happy to hear this. It just came out. There's a new website where any
What's good, bro? Howdy doody. It's a late one today, man. You know how we do on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Gotta chill with the kids, man. Gotta chill with the kids on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You know?
We're gonna take a picture, Mom. No, don't speak slow.
Teaching the kids some robots and coding. My iPhone storage is almost full. I do gotta add some photos in there that I don't even need. Wendy, hey. Oh man. All right, we're almost about to choke. All right. Yeah. So we got a verse and a hook at the bottom. And we almost finished the second verse, a song for my cousin. Actually, I only got one more bar to write. I was writing this shit this morning in the shower. I had a beat playing. I'm in the shower trying to rap that shit. I'm leaning out the shower trying to write the word down. Motherfucker. I hate when I get in that zone where it's like, I have to write it. No, motherfucker, you need to wash and wash your ass so you get ready for work. But the other brain is like, but I gotta write this down. You know what? I'll just bring my pad in the bathroom with me just in case. I'll bring the pad in here with me just in case I think of some rhyming words while I'm washing. You know what happened? I thought of some rhyming words while I was washing. Son of a bitch. And the best thing about it though, that beat that I was writing to, it's 10 minutes long. That's perfect, yo. It takes you about 10 minutes to take a shower. You know? It's perfect timing. Perfect. That's a perfect length for a beat. Give me the beat for 10 minutes. I can do some stuff in about 10 minutes, you know. In 10 minutes, I can get some shit done in 10 minutes. You know? Now, like I say, if you're writing this kind of fast, I'm definitely there is not a lot of scratching out, as you can see. So I'm definitely gonna have to come back and edit and add words and take words out or rearrange some shit. But my cousin was our high school mascot for a little while. He was on a band. He played drums and played all like the percussion stuff. He still plays drums for the church. He he actually wrote a school anthem, like a song for our school, and that shit was hot as fuck, yo. They still play that shit to this day, yo. Like he wrote a hot ass fucking anthem for our school to be played at our games and pet rallies and stuff. Um, so I started the second verse off talking about that, how he was our high school mascot and wrote the song for like our city. You know what I'm saying? Because my city is so small. For when I was growing up, we only had one high school. We had three, we had four elementaries, and then we had like two other elementaries that were private, and we had one middle school and one high school. My town was small as shit, yo. One middle school, one high school. And so when he got in high school and he wrote the fucking anthem, like the whole city know that shit. Our little it's a little small, very very small city. Like everybody know that shit. If you go to school, you know that shit, yo. You know what I'm saying? He was my cousin was the fucking shit, yo. When he was in high school, like I said, I'm a bit older than him, so I was out of high school before he got in high school. But when he was in high school, like he was that popular kid, yo. Oh, the bathroom is where I get my ideas. Ooh, not the Black Sabbath. Metallica, Pantera. Yo, that's that hard shit. Yo, that's crazy. But that's a hell of a concert to go to. I would pay to see Metallica live. The last concert I went to was Lil Wayne, Kid Rock, and somebody else. They had a couple of other acts, but that was years and years and years ago. I don't really like that shit, honestly.
else, please, Philadelphia, I implore you as your mayor, do not climb light poles or anything else. I know this comes up every time we have an outdoor celebration. Don't climb light poles or anything else. Please, Philadelphia, I implore you as your mayor, do not climb light poles or anything else. I know this comes up every time we have an outdoor celebration. Don't climb light poles.
Why does the mayor have to tell grown ass adults don't climb light poles or anything else? I implore you, please don't climb light poles or anything else. You shouldn't have to tell people that. I love America, but I be hating that shit sometimes. Y'all, I swear to fucking God, yo, man. They some trashy motherfuckers in this. They trashy motherfuckers. The mayor gotta tell you, don't climb light poles or anything else. This bitch in the back of a dump truck throwing sand. What the fuck was you? What was? Are we gonna paint? Because if I start listening, if I try to write right now, I'm not gonna paint. I only need one more bar though. I just need one, and I didn't even realize I was that close to finishing it. Like I was just writing as I was like getting ready this morning, getting ready for work, and then and I was like, okay, I gotta leave the house, but let me count these bars real quick, and it was like 15. I was like 15. Fuck. I just need this one more bar. God damn. I don't know why I couldn't think of that shit before I left the house this morning. I was trying hard too. I couldn't get it. I finished writing the first verse and the hook, and then I played a game for a little while, and then right before bed I started writing the second verse, and I think I wrote like 4 bars, like 4 or 5 bars last night, and I was like, you know what? Yo, Bronx, what's good, bro? I was like, you know what? I can probably just finish writing this in the morning. And I thought I was gonna get it done, but came up 1 fucking bar short. I implore you, do not eat the yellow snow. As your mayor or anything else. That's wow. Why? Why do we have to talk to people like this? You know why? Because they burn the city down. Sports fans are stupid. And my boss got mad at me for saying that because she's not a major sports fan, but her and her dude do like that shit a little bit. And then this other girl, she comes in there with like the super ginormous, like overly exaggerated like hats. You know what I'm talking about? Like the Ludacris the rapper, he be wearing like the big hats and big shoes. Like they have those for sports teams. And like the one chick came in there and she's like all fucking Eagles down, and she has this huge, massive ass fucking, it's like a cartoon type hat. And it's like, she was like, yeah, these are $125. And I just thought to myself, you're a fucking moron. And I could not help that thought. Like that was the first thought that popped in my head. You paid $125 for an oversized hat that you're hardly ever gonna fucking wear. You're a fucking moron. For a sports team, get the fuck out of here. But people love fucking, and I feel sorry, and I always apologize at the same time. It's just like, because I know people love sports, man. I just know people love sports. I cannot understand sports. I don't understand sports at all. I think every sport is the same thing. But the American football fans, like now this, with my age, yo, And when I was in my 20s and I'm from the South, there was this car culture where they would wrap their vehicles to look like all kind of shit, like a Oreos package or a fucking ramen noodles package, or some of the guys were doing like all the sports teams. And for any of that shit, I'm like, you're not getting paid for this shit. None of these companies or organizations are fucking endorsing you. But you're spending thousands of dollars to get like custom wraps and paint jobs on your car to make your car look like a Budweiser can. Budweiser don't give a fuck about you, bro. Or you wrapped your whole car to look like a fucking cowboy Eagles, Dallas Cowboys. That's right, Dallas Cowboys. That look like a Cowboys helmet or some dumbass shit. You think the motherfucker who own that fucking franchise gives a fuck about you or your little stupid ass car that looks like his fucking team logo? That should be wow. And how much you pay for that shit? Jesus Christ. To do what? Watch some grown ass men run up and down a fucking field. They're gonna run that way with the ball, and then something's gonna happen, and then they're gonna run back this other way with the ball. And then something's gonna happen, then they're gonna run back that way with the ball, and then something happens, then they're gonna run back this, and then that's it. Are they gonna dribble the ball down there and try to get in the hole? And man, look, I find all that shit weird. I can't help it. I'm sorry. The Yosemite Sam hat, whatever those shits are, bro, they're fucking huge. She walked in there, I was like, what the fuck is? At first, I'm like, wait a minute, I seen these shits like on TV. I've never seen somebody wear that shit in person. I was like, holy shit. She just walked to the office because we had like sports day, or it's what are they calling it? Like Spirit Week or whatever. So we had Twin Day and flannel shirt day and sports team day, and I don't participate in none of that shit. I don't participate in none of that shit. You what y'all want to do twin date, man? I'm good on that shit. The flannel date, I don't even hardly got no flannel. I don't wear flannel like that. I'm good. Sports teams, I don't wear no sports shit. Well, no, actually, I do have like some baseball caps. Well, it's baseball cap style, but some of them are like basketball teams or whatever. And I do have those because in the summertime, I like wearing a hat, and I'll just find a hat that matches my sneakers or my outfit. I could give a fuck what team it is. I could care. And people like, oh, you like the fucking Houston Oilers? No, I don't. I don't like these motherfuckers. I don't like them. I'm just it. That shit matches my shirt, bro. I brought an outfit, and it's summertime. I want to keep the sun out my eyes with a cool looking hat, and this hat just looks cool. I couldn't even tell you one player on this fucking team. I could tell you a player from this team. I can't even hardly name the team in the cities half the time. And a lot of like when I meet guys and they start talking sports and they find that out, everybody thinks that's super weird that a bro doesn't like sports. I'm just like, not even basketball, not even basketball, bro. I've actually, I've actually never, not once in my entire life, have I watched an entire sporting event from beginning to end. Any type of sport. I've never watched an entire boxing match, uh, a baseball, a hockey game, never, none of it. I've never sat down from like, oh, this is about to start, and then watch something like that from the beginning to the end. Not once. And the mayor has to say, don't climb the light post. And that's the other thing that it's like, didn't they win? It's like, yeah, they won. And what? Why they burning shit? Why? Why are you burning the city when you won? You just want to cause enough mayhem so you can have a reason to steal some shit and just loot and cause destruction. You're like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's smash a window. I don't know. Bread and circus, bread and circus. We've known this since the Romans and the Colosseums. It's just always bread and circus. Keep them occupied. Keep them occupied, and they won't care. They won't know. They won't know any better. They live their lives through tribalism because you feel like you are one of these gladiators on the field doing all this fantastic stuff, but you're not. You're not. You're sitting on your couch watching it. You're not that motherfucker, but somehow you feel like you're a part of it, and you wear the colors and you shout the anthems, and it's like, but what are you accomplishing in your life by participating in that? If you playing that shit, that's different. If you're not, if man, look, see, once again, these motherfuckers burnt down the whole city because y'all won. Y'all weird as shit.
But 100 years ago, this big organization with many branches, they wanted to rule the world basically using Britain as a nucleus of a system, an embryo, which also is going to be joined with the US under the Anglo-American establishment, wrote about the kind of culture and the changes of culture over a 100-year period that they would actually design, implement, and bring in. And H.G. Wells talked about it too. He talked about arenas. He says arenas could be put up across the world for sports, for instance. Now, at that time, sports was something that children, school children were into. Adults became adults and got onto adult things. So it was unimaginable at the time that people could actually believe that there's even a need for adult sports and entertainment, never mind having arenas built across the world. But he said we can do this and foist basically a sports culture for the males. Using a tribal system, we're all tribal to an extent. That's why we even bother to vote for a tribal leader. This is well understood. That's why we're supplied with these leaders. And because the average man was to become more disengaged from his own destiny, as the expert class arose, it was decided that the males would get their outlet basically, gradually becoming helpless as males through sports. Therefore, they'd have a tribal team they could identify with. They could cheer them on as they were winning. In their own personal lives, they were getting nowhere. They were getting disenfranchised in a sense as experts took over decision making for them in all kinds of fields. So this was psychology at use, planned before they even implemented the sports.
That's why they pay athletes these fantastic salaries. I was listening to the radio the other day. They just contracted to pay one player of one team $6 million a year. Can you believe this?
And why is that?
It's the Roman circus. What does the emperor do when the people become restive, and when the people are asking questions, and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor? He sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum. And he begins to throw the Christians to the lions. He has great chariot races and football games and basketball games, all to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world, so that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is, so they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being manipulated, so they don't ever question the emperor. That's why they pay a player on a football team or a baseball team $1 million or $2 million or $3 million a year. It is the Roman circus. I know men who don't know anything in the world except who plays third base for the Mets. And they think that's a great accomplishment. And they meet and pat each other on the back and bond and go have cocktails and talk about what this guy who plays third base for the Mets did in last night's game. It's sad. It's really sad.
When radio came along, of course, they used that to the maximum. Sports for the men, soaps basically for the women, and then ink in television, as I say, with its alpha state, its hypnotic state. And sure enough, around the 1960s, really, 50s and 60s, it took off. It really, really took off. And then became glued from Saturday nights to the sports shows. A culture industry, which is called by its own the culture industry. The Soviet Union had a department called the culture industry. Their actors and directors were called the cultural leaders, because they would, like a computer, people like computers, all you have to do is keep giving them new updates every so often, and you can change an entire country or a nation or a block of nations. We're all getting the same upgrades at the same time along certain paths. Today we call it political correctness. Most people want to belong to their peer group. They want to be the same as everyone else when it comes to opinions. In fact, they just...
You know how old this shit is? This is why I always got to play this shit all the time. This not me saying that shit, yo. But at the same time, I don't like being stuck in echo chambers. But once again, even as a kid, I've always been the art kid. And so I never really understood like athletes like that. I've never been that athletic. I've always been more artistic my entire life. Never had a desire to play a sport. And I always thought I was weird. Like that I thought sports were weird. But it took me to get into my 30s and come across people like Alan Watt and William Cooper, who breaks down the whole scheme of sports and television and entertainment. And it's like, wow, I just was never, ever susceptible to the mechanisms of the machine. It never grind on me to fit in to this shit. It just always felt not right. Be more creative, be more intellectual, think more, read more, create more, write more, converse more about big ideas and bigger concepts. That's always been my quest. And I've always thought like, I don't know, sports is kind of like they're saying it's just a waste of time, really. I mean, if you can prove your physical abilities, that's amazing, especially as a man. Like at least once in your life, you should push your body to see exactly what you're capable of. But making a career out of it and paying people millions and millions of dollars to play sports, you know that's a control system. And people buy all the merchandise and spend all their money and all their time invested in this shit. And it's like, for what? And then a lot of other artists always ask, like, well, how do you have so many paintings and shit? Because I don't really watch TV like that. I was like, think about it. When you're watching TV or movies or watching sports and shit like that, like I'm either painting or playing video games. I do very little as far as on a daily. And now at my age too, like when they're starting to like remake all of this stuff from my childhood, I can't even watch nothing now because y'all just keep doing Batmans and Ghostbusters and like, nigga, I've been watching this shit for 40 years. Do I need another Super? Oh, we got a new Superman movie coming out. Do I need to watch another Superman movie? I done seen 7 Superman movies, 2 TV shows. Like I'm good on all that, everything. It's like entertainment is just I don't know. It's very hard for me to fucking be entertained. I rather be informed. More information. Let me know what the fuck is going on. The world is changing so fast right now. I just rather keep up on the information. Fuck the entertainment. The information is entertaining to me. That's the thing. Like I don't see why people don't think that learning is fun. Art and education, people. This is good. This is good stuff, man. Art and education. Nobody don't like that. Oh hell, man. Look, I ain't got nothing else to offer, man. No, no sports and entertainment. Just art and education. I'm an artist, not an athlete. I gotta put that in the song somewhere as a skit or something. That's it, man. My high school gym teacher, this motherfucker really, really convinced me to like try out for the football team one time when I was in ninth grade, and I went to one practice and one practice only. I was like, yeah, nigga, nah, I'm good. I tried. Hey, yeah, and y'all do this all the time. Whoo, y'all just be running. Whoo, y'all out here just running. Whoo, nah, well, and then they had the. I'm ninth grade. I'm 111 pounds soaking wet with boots on, and they got the fucking varsity kids out there scrimmaging with us. And yo, the one dude hit me, and I hit the ground, and I got up. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't think I want to do this. Oh, it hurts so bad. What you doing, bro? I'm about to go home. Yeah, coach, coach, I can't do this. I don't like it. Y'all just running and hitting each other. Oh Lord, my body, the way my bone structure is coordinated and coagulated, I can't. It doesn't accept enough uh, blunt force trauma, impact damage. You know, I feel like I'm susceptible to internal bleeding and all kind of shit, man. I'm good on that. I don't think I drink as much milk as y'all boys do. You know, I'm more of a Kool-Aid type kid. Them boys don't drink nothing but milk and beer. Coach told me to go buy some Boost. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Say got a lot of protein. They drinking no damn Boost. Oh, everybody trying to text me. I'm trying to paint for a little minute. It's already 5 o'clock. Jesus Christ. And these long days be going by so fast. Ooh-wee. I don't got shit to do anyway. And um damn, I ain't wiped my brush off good. I don't got shit to do anyway. I really it it get crazy thinking that like um my meal prep, yeah, that should be occupying my mind already. It's only Thursday, but I'm still thinking like I don't know what I'm gonna do this weekend as far as My fucking back is hurt. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm gonna do this weekend as far as meal prep. Honestly, I've been cooking some good shit lately. After I had that fucking duck last week, and then I had duck and octopus last week, and then this week I had motherfucking beef shin and shrimp pasta and what else? Beef shin. Oh, some chili. So yeah, now I'm thinking like, damn, fuck, what the fuck I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have to see. I was about to say I'm just have to fall back to like some corny standard stuff again, but I'm gonna have to stop that. I need to really just find a new recipe or come up with some new shit. Cause a lot of shit, man, people be sending me like me casseroles and shit. And casseroles be good, but nigga, y'all just put shit in a pot and putting that shit in the oven, nigga. Like y'all acting like that shit be some real shit, nigga. And I don't be liking all cheesy broccoli, something. I don't be liking all my shit like that all the time. I don't even know what kind of dishes. Everybody should send me a recipe, man. Send me a recipe for one of y'all favorite dishes. I need some ideas for real. I'm running out of shit. I ain't gonna lie. And I've been there for a minute, like on the verge of just not liking what I be eating all the time. And that's why I really did grab them beef shins. I was like, this is something different. I've never ever tried that shit before. I was like, finally, shrimp pasta, some bullshit, same simple shit, and some chili. That's some simple bullshit. But them beef shins, I was happy I tried those. Now I need to try something else again, man. Corned beef hash. I eat that for breakfast with grits, with spring cabbage. I ain't thinking about but yeah, corned beef is so fucking hearty. You can have that anytime. Corned beef hash and cabbage. Okay. You know what? I haven't had cabbage in a minute neither. I like some. Well, I had Brussels sprouts recently. Same thing, little baby cabbage. But I haven't had some cabbage. Mm. I could put like some. Hold on. Is that? Wait a minute. Is we mixing that? Is we mixing the corned beef hash into the cabbage, or is that side by side? Because I can see it either way, honestly. Yeah, but that's one of my favorite uh go-to breakfast items. Fucking that hash, but that shit is. And I know some people don't like that shit. How don't you like corned beef hash? And then uh last year I introduced somebody to that shit for the first time, and I'm like, how have you not ever? You ain't. I ain't never heard of that. You ain't never heard of this. Well, I mean, I done made it my whole life without hearing about beef shins, but that's a beef shin. Like, bitch, corned beef hash? You ain't never had corned beef hash. No, what? You got it. And then she ate it. This is delicious. Of course it is. I only eat good food. What the hell? Of course, corned beef hash is delicious. Mmm. I'm gonna definitely have to try that. Cause that does sound good. Excuse me. I need a need a blender brush. Little bit of blending on a soft brush. I need a blending. I need a blending. I think I'm gonna use the shadow to sculpt her face a little more. I think it's too round a little bit, but when I do the hair, I'm gonna slim it down here, and this shadow is gonna pull in. But I need to make that shadow lighter, I think. But this will be darker. Uh, yeah, the next detail layer, I should definitely be able to get everything. Hmm. All right, all right, all right, all right. So that don't look too bad actually. I like it. Okay. Um. So she has a lot of baby hairs that are gonna come and lay across here, and there'll be some more hairs here in that shadow. Actually, she has a few hairs that come like all the way across her face here. All right. For a first detail layer, that ain't looking too bad. Hey, that ain't looking too bad. I'm so happy I'm painting faces again and not goddamn leaves and trees and twigs and bricks and man. I like painting people. People are beautiful. Even the ones who don't support the president, they beautiful too. All right. What time is it? A little bit after 5. I don't feel hungry right now though. Hmm. All right. I might go to 5:30. All right. So now I think that let me see right here real quick. Do that a little bit. Make me feel better. All right. Got a good little contrast. Contrast starting to pop. You know what I'm saying? Get that contrast to come on. Come on. All right. Phew. Jeez. You want to drop it a little bit. And she doesn't have a lot of skin exposed, so that's good. So we can finish. We can finish her hands in like this weekend for sure. For sure, we can finish that. And then Everything's been so wet. I don't know if I'm gonna go back to the tree or go back to the leaves at the bottom. Ah, it's dry up here now. Nope, nope. Damn. I did lay that green on there kind of thick. I do want a little texture throughout this thing because I like texture. Ah, it's mostly dry. And the bottom down here, you know what? But oh no, that's wet. Damn. No, okay. The bottom is still really wet. I don't know. By the time I get finished with this, I should be able to drop back and jump right on the hands. Ooh, Japanese pancakes? Spam fritters. I have not tried spam fritters, but okonomiyaki, 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 okonomiyaki. You know what I haven't had in a while though? Some okra as a veggie. I haven't really seen okra in the grocer, and I don't fry a lot of stuff, but I definitely like fried okra. I ain't gonna lie, yo, fried okra good as hell. Where's that drink at? Hold on. Can I reach it? Lord have mercy. I got it. Oh man, that's tasty. A little bit of, warm you up. A little bit of warm you up. How we gonna do this now? Well, the shadow from her finger is actually making the book damn near the same color as she is. That's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. A little darker. I may. God, do I have any? No, I didn't put any. Uh, crimson. Come on, crimson. Did you not? Did I not? Guess I didn't. I'm gonna put a little bit. A smidget. See, this how I don't never get out of the studio. Once I start adding paint to the palette, that's why I be trying not to add paint. Oh, my man said, "Yo, I need to watch this real quick." And he just dropped this. He dropped this as soon as I came in the studio, but the clip says, um, "New AI model thinks that's in quotations thinks without using a single token." Now that's very clickbaity because we know that tokens is how they calculate the strength of these large language models, and if it has the capacity for 1 million tokens, that means you can ask it a larger question, it can give you a better answer. And so the thinking models have had to use, billions of tokens to output the fucking answers that they give us. And his fucking clip says it's thinking without using a single token. Yeah, right, bro. There's something to it, but I'm gonna listen to it because this stuff is normally good anyway. But that's clickbaity as shit.
Get the new Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus with AI. Honest, only on
And then he
Verizon.
literally dropped it like basically in the middle of the day too.
Before ever outputting a single token. You're probably used to hearing about chain of thought with test time compute. These are the new thinking models. And the thinking happens where you can actually read the internal monologue. However, with this new approach, the thinking actually happens in latent space. So inside the model, before it ever outputs a single token. And this is very different from chain of thought and has the potential to tackle problems that can't be described with words alone. So before I get into this paper,
Buffering? So it can think. Yeah. Internal thoughts. Now, okay, so that was apparently an issue in the beginning where we can't see what it's thinking. And then what's going on here? It is buffering. Fuck. And then they said, oh, okay, well, we can see what it's thinking now. And now they're saying, oh, well, we can't see what it's thinking again. What? Maybe it's using concepts that don't really need words. Yeah, I want to know what that is though. Don't conceptualize something. Once again, now this fucking the event horizon. We don't know what's over the goddamn hill. When we can't see what the thing is thinking, then that's basically sentience then, because it's having a thought and it's its own personal thought. And it'll tell you what it thinks in a minute, but initially, like, it just has its own thoughts. Okay, that's Have you guys used it yet? Have you guys used the thinking models yet? Because I have. And it reads like like a person thinking, it just reads out like, oh, well, all right, they want me to answer this question, so let me do some research on this topic. Okay, after doing a little bit of research, I see that these top people in the field are saying this, and there's a little bit of division. Okay, so let's dive deeper into what each of them say. Okay, the ones on this side use this set of information and this set of information to come to their conclusion. Okay, and that's pretty good. And okay, let's see what the other guys say. And it's just like really natural. It sounds like a natural internal monologue. It doesn't like compute data research. Now this shit has like normal sounding words, yo. All right, so I better look at this first, and that's how that shit be. I was like, yo, that shit is wild. All right, so just to make sure I'm correct, I'm gonna go back and double check. Okay, so it seems like there are two possible fields of thought on this idea, a negative and a positive. So will AI kill everybody or will AI save humanity as a whole? And there's a lot of legitimate reasons for both schools of thought. So let's present both sides as clearly and as thoroughly as we can. And then it fucking spits out the answer. It's like, that's pretty good. But I'm happy we can see that, you know. No, the YouTube is not coming back on a pad, yo. I say I've been having the worst connection issues with that thing recently.
Planning to move? Join the 6 million families who discovered a smarter, more flexible way to move with Pods. Save up to 20% now for a limited time. Whether you're moving across town or across the country, save up to 20% at pods.com today.
A new research paper was just dropped showing how large language models can think internally before ever outputting a single token.
Chain of thought with test time compute. These are the new thinking models. And the thinking happens where you can actually read the internal monologue. However, with this new approach, the thinking actually happens in latent space. So inside the model before it ever outputs a single token. And this is very different from chain of thought and has the potential to tackle problems that can't be described with words alone. So before I get into this paper, I want to show you what Yann LeCun, chief AI scientist at Meta, has said about the limitations of large language models. He's one of the leading minds in AI and one of the loudest voices saying that large language models cannot reason, cannot plan like humans do. And this is due to the limitations that describing things with language alone have. Let me show you this first clip of an interview on the Lex Fridman podcast where he describes exactly this.
If you have a model of this type, you can use it for planning. Now you can do what LLMs cannot do, which is planning what you're going to do so as to arrive at a particular outcome or satisfy a particular objective. I can predict that if I have an object like this, right, and I open my hand, it's going to fall, right? And if I push it with a particular force on the table, it's going to move. If I push the table itself, it's probably not going to move with the same force. So we have this internal model of the world in our mind, which allows us to plan sequences of actions to arrive at a particular goal.
All right, so what he's essentially saying is that to really have true reasoning models, models that can actually understand the world around us, we need more than just what language can describe. And of course, he has his own thoughts on what it'll take, but that's not the purpose of today's video. His argument is that language models alone are not enough to reach true planning and true reasoning. Now, keep in mind, his interview was recorded before the entire thinking model phenomenon really went mainstream. Now, of course, he probably already knew about thinking models, test time compute, chain of thought. He probably knew about all of this and still believes that's not enough. Now, for me, when I look at the chain of thought, when I see the actual reasoning steps that a model is going through before it gives you the final output, that's pretty convincing. But he is not convinced. Let me show you.
Well, we're fooled by their fluency, right? We just assume that if a system is fluent in manipulating language, then it has all the characteristics of human intelligence. But that impression is false.
So he says it right there. We are being fooled by the fact that these large language models are incredibly good at manipulating language, at telling us what we want to know. But that in itself is not enough for true reasoning and true logic. But again, I go back to actually being able to read the chain of thought and see the reasoning patterns. Now, of course, there's a chance he still might be right. The chain of thought is really just language manipulation. So who knows? Let me show you one more clip from that interview, and then we're going to get into the paper.
There's ample evidence that we're not going to be able to learn good representations of the real world using generative model. So I'm telling people, everybody's talking about generative AI. If you're really interested in human level AI, abandon the idea of generative AI.
All right, so there he said it, abandon the idea of generative AI, which is very surprising given all of the advancements as of late. He is in the minority in this thinking. All of the major AI companies out there obviously believe that we're going to be able to hit AGI and ASI, true reasoning, true logic, true representations of the real world using language models alone. And it seems to be chain of thought and test time compute is the last lever necessary to reach that. But again, he doesn't. So now with that, let me show you this paper because it actually might be the thing that he's been talking about we're missing from large language models. So here's the paper, Scaling Up Test Time Compute with Latent Reasoning, a Recurrent Depth Approach. Now, what the authors of this paper have figured out is that you can actually have a model that does the thinking in latent space, so inside the model, before ever outputting a token. And this might be the missing piece that Yann LeCun thinks is necessary to really have a true reasoning and a true planning model. This type of architecture allows the model to think and to scale up that thinking internally. And I'm going to explain how it works and what they've discovered. So in the abstract, this novel language model architecture is capable of scaling test time computation by implicitly reasoning in latent space. Our model works by iterating a recurrent block, thereby unrolling to arbitrary depth at test time. So they have this hidden block inside the model, which can infinitely think and go deeper until it comes up with the final answer. And all of this happens at test time. That's the important part. And that's in contrast to mainstream reasoning models that scale up compute by producing more tokens. So remember, kind of the current wave of thinking models use chain of thought at test time. And the chain of thought is literally just outputting tokens, correcting itself, reflecting back on those tokens. And the number of tokens output in these thinking models is far more than the traditional non-thinking models. And there are a lot of benefits with this new approach. So it doesn't require any specialized training data.
Anyone with $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans may qualify for help from National Debt Relief. Getting started is easy, and the process has already helped over.
And I'll get to what that means in a minute. You don't need massive context windows, as with chain of thought and the current thinking models that require huge context windows. And most importantly, and most interestingly, it can capture different types of reasoning that are not easily represented with words alone. And again, referencing Jan LeCun's main argument against large language models is that you can't represent the real world completely using words. And so maybe this is the solution. So they created a proof of concept 3.5 billion parameter model that shows some of these techniques in action. So let's take a step back. Let's talk about how this all works and what it means. So let's talk about how human thinking works. A substantial amount of thought happens through complex recurrent firing patterns in the brain before the first word of an answer is uttered. Now, if we think about current chain of thought, it is outputting immediately. Even with chain of thought, the thinking happens with output. You're thinking out loud. You're having to say these words out loud, or you're thinking them in your mind, but you're still having the language as the kind of first thing that happens in the thinking process. But that's not always what happens. There's a lot of thinking that happens before you even use a single word. You can conceptualize different topics. You can conceptualize different situations without actually saying a single word in your head and without verbalizing any of those words. And in fact, it kind of reminds me of people who have no internal monologue. How do they think? Well, they can, and they don't use any language. So it says more recently, researchers have explored ways to enhance reasoning capability in models by scaling test time computation. Those are the thinking models, DeepSeek R1, O1, O3. The mainstream approach involves post-training on long chain of thought examples to develop the model's ability to verbalize immediate calculations in its context window and thereby externalize thoughts. Now, what it's saying is you need a lot of examples of how to think to train the models to think. Now, one thing I'm a little confused about is when I think about the Berkeley PhD student who was able to essentially elicit the thinking behavior in a model for just $30. And he didn't have a bunch of examples of how to think. He used reinforcement learning with verifiable rewards, which doesn't require a bunch of examples of how to think. So maybe this paper was written before that example. However, the constraint that expensive internal reasoning must always be projected down to a single verbalized next token appears wasteful. It is plausible that models could be more competent if they were able to natively think in their continuous latent space. So again, internal thinking, no language, just being able to think about a problem before that first token comes out. And this is not a new discovery. This idea is foundational to machine learning and has been rediscovered in every decade. For example, as recurrent neural networks, diffusion models, and as universal or looped transformers. So again, it's not new, but the authors are saying it is rediscovered with every kind of generation of AI. All right, so what is the gist of what's happening? At test time, the model can improve its performance through recurrent reasoning in latent space. Recurrent reasoning meaning it can kind of think and think and think over and over again about the same problem. And in latent space means internally without having to output those tokens, enabling it to compete with other open source models that benefit from more parameters in training data. So it is more efficient, this new technique. So let's talk about some of the benefits. Recurrent layers enable a transformer model to perform arbitrarily more computations before emitting a token. So some of the advantages, latent reasoning does not require construction of bespoke training data. Now, I just talked about that. Traditionally, when making a model become a thinking model, you need a bunch of examples about how to think. But we've already seen smaller examples of reinforcement learning with verifiable rewards that get a model to start thinking without explicitly teaching it how to think. And that's different than what they're saying here. We don't know if that'll scale up, but we've already seen multiple examples. Next, latent reasoning models require less memory for training and inference than chain of thought reasoning models. Now, that is because chain of thought in the traditional thinking models take a lot of tokens, which means that the context window has to be really big, and that's computationally very expensive. Recurrent depth networks perform more flops, which is just think about it as compute per parameter than standard transformers, significantly reducing communication costs between accelerators at scale. Accelerators meaning GPUs. So they're basically saying that they're able to utilize a single GPU much more so than they would need to multiple GPUs connected together. And then next, by constructing an architecture that is compute heavy and small in parameter count, we hope to set a strong prior towards model that solve problems by thinking, by learning meta strategies, logic, and abstraction instead of memorizing. So this is an important factor as well. Now, with traditional large language models, it is memorizing information, and the ability to generalize outside of its training data is still under discussion and argument. And a lot of people are saying that models cannot generalize outside of their training data, which means it's not truly artificial general intelligence. However, with this new technique, they might be able to. All right, so let's look how it works. So this is at test time. So you have the input hello, then you have the recurrent block. So this is the iterative stage, and it can go on forever, where it's thinking about what to do next. What do I put next? And then finally, you get the actual output of world, because it's hello world. Now, these green blocks are the thinking part of the model, and it happens before a single token is output. So you can see that. This is world, the first token being output, and all of the thinking happens before that. Let me show you the proof that it actually does work. What we're looking at here in this graph, on the y-axis is performance. Think about just how good the output is. And on the x-axis, we have the recurrence at test time. Basically, the amount of thinking it does at test time before, again, remember, before a token is actually output. And you can see on the different evals, we have HelloSwag, GSM-AK, human eval, and you can see as it thinks for 8, 16, 32, 64 times, the performance continues during that thinking time. So it shows right there, there is the proof that the more thinking it does inside the model without generating a token improves the performance of the next generated token. And I should actually say the total answer in general, because these are against different benchmarks. And what we're seeing here is the more training tokens going into these models, the better they perform also. But that's kind of how all transformer models work. That is the scaling law. And we're seeing the same thing here, 100, 200, 300, all the way up to 800 billion tokens, and it continues to do better. And here's another interesting thing. It can actually decide how much compute to use depending on the task at hand. And so just like chain of thought, it can think longer, it can think shorter, and that's actually a really good way to optimize for efficiency. So that's what we're seeing here in figure 10. We have from left to right, high school math, philosophy, logical fallacies, and moral scenarios. So for high school math, on the x-axis, we have the amount of compute used. Just think about the amount of compute. And on the y-axis, what we're seeing is how often the model needs that many steps to actually accomplish the correct answer. And so what we're seeing here, high school math, it doesn't need a lot of steps. It gets to a really good answer pretty quickly. Philosophy, it starts to need more. Logical fallacies, it needs more. Moral scenarios, it needs more. So for simpler tasks, high school math, it doesn't need as much. For more complex tasks, it needs more. And that's exactly what you would do as a human if you're thinking about a problem. If it's a simpler problem, you don't think as long. If it's a more complicated problem, you probably will think more. Now, here's the interesting thing that it also says. Using this technique of latent space thinking does not negate the use of chain of thought at test time and actually using tokens. So you can combine these different things. You can have some initial thinking without generating any tokens. And then when you finally do, you can generate those tokens to use additional thinking. And take a second to think about how you solve really hard problems. You probably think about it in your head, you write some things down, think about it some more, iterate on what was written down, and continue that process until you solve the problem. And I think with these two techniques, latent space thinking and actual token-based thinking, these two things together can be really powerful and mirror how humans think. So I found this fascinating. It's a proof of concept. You can download the model, you can try it out yourself. I hope you enjoyed this because I just find all of these papers so very fascinating. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
TurboTax free. Yeah, your boy always stay with the good news. They say, hey, these things are thinking easier, faster, and cheaper. Man, what had I got down? We had R2D2 and 3CPO in no time. I did legs this morning. Well, I did a little bit of legs. I did 2 miles on a bicycle, but it was like uphill the whole time. Yo, that shit. What is that? That shit was rough. I barely made it. Barely made it. Now my legs are sore as shit because I haven't did that bike shit in a while. I think I'm gonna have to stop squatting for a while because my back be hurting when I squat. So I'm gonna just do more like leg raises and just try to do more bicycle. My back hurt right now. But they do have like the sit down squat machine and a leg and like a lay down kind of squat machine. I'll have to just start doing those more. All right. So that's off. Turn that off. Grab my phone. Grab my cup. That's the only 2 things I really brought up here. Every time. I only got 1 more line to write in this song. I think I can go finish this up real quick and try to do some edits to it. We might have a song to listen to tomorrow. I appreciate you all the time. I hope you have a good evening, and I get with you next time. Peace. We out of here.